Hi, this is a foreigner in the Philippines. Well, every so often, a particular rash of events and experiences will come up that makes you look at how you handle your life. And always you have that issue about what do you forgive, what do you forget, what do you move on from, what do you resume, what do you do with all of these things? One of the things that I wrote and put on my Facebook page once was I said, tongue in cheek, of course, I said, I called up God today, spoke to God, and I asked him, can I be perfect? And he said, yes, you can. You can be perfect. But he also said, the problem is that we're having at the moment is that perfect is on back order. So it might take a bit of time. So I said, but I will be able to be perfect, won't I, God? And he said, absolutely. You will be perfect. But it's on back order because everybody wants it. So here's what I suggest. You go off and you be nice to everybody until it comes through. And then as soon as it's on the shelf, you'll be the first person that I call. And I said, thank you, God. I know you're telling the truth. Well, gods tell the truth, don't they? So, you're going to be good to everybody, and you're going to find that some people don't care whether you're being good. And I remember once that someone said to me, expecting everyone to be good to you because you're a nice person is a little bit like expecting that the bull will not charge you in the field because you're a vegetarian. See, it's not going to happen. So, we have certain things that we have to take care of. Now, I like the example of being on an aeroplane. And when you're on an aeroplane, it always says on the instructions, if the aircraft has to depressurize, down in front of you will fall an oxygen mask. And it will fall down in front of everyone. Now, if you're sitting with someone who is infirm and not able to handle themselves very well, or a child who doesn't know what the heck is going on, do you handle the child first? Do you put the other child first? No, you don't. What it advises you very clearly is take the mask, pull it towards you, which then releases the oxygen, and fix it on your face. And once you've done that, you're now functioning properly, and you can attend to the person next to you, and you can pull their oxygen mask down, and you can take care of them. Now, why do you make sure that your own survival is important? Because if you're not surviving, you can't help anybody else either. So, what does that mean in terms of everyday behavior? Well, it means that you're going to have to set certain boundaries. And when people cross those boundaries, you're going to say, sorry, but I don't like that. Now, in an ideal world, you should be able to confront anything. That's obvious. You should be able to confront it. Well, whatever you do, I can take it. I'm tough. But it doesn't really work all the time. It does make you strive to be one of those people who can confront anything and still maintain their position, but then you can only try, and in trying you become stronger. But in the meantime, there will always be someone who insists on crossing the boundaries. And the boundaries can be a multitude of things. How about the person who gets right up in your face when they're talking? And here they are, and all you really want to do is just pull back and say, hold on a second, just don't get in my face. I always joke with my wife Beth, don't I, and say, stop sticking that camera up my nose. Kind of like that. So you have your boundaries, and that protects you. It gives you some kind of control over your immediate surroundings. You set some boundaries. Now, does everyone set boundaries? Well, when you go into work, isn't having to be there at 8 o'clock to start, or 9 o'clock to start your work, and leave at 5, isn't that a boundary between 9 and 5? Isn't it a boundary that you only get an hour for lunch, and you have to be back? You leave at 12, you're expected to be back at 1. Those are boundaries. Now, can your boss come up, and if you haven't done your work, can he slap you around the face? No. That's a boundary, and you wouldn't expect that that would be it, and the boss respects that that's a boundary. So, in your everyday life, your loved one, if your loved one does something that's outside the marriage, then they've crossed a boundary, and that's not okay. If someone that you love spends too much money for the day, they've crossed a boundary. If you do that, you've crossed a boundary of someone. So all the time we're expecting boundaries to be respected. So how does that work in with forgiveness? You forgive what you can confront, and those things which you are unwilling to confront, you don't put up with, and you set a boundary. Now, how about your behavior? Well, your behavior surely should be that you do not cross other people's boundaries. And in those situations where two people are continually crossing each other's boundaries, then it's a kind of a no-go. And they usually stop seeing each other. Certainly in the case of a romantic liaison, they will stop dating. I just didn't get on with him. I just didn't like her. Boundaries. So that's really what we're talking about, is yes, forgiveness, and we forgive as much as we possibly can, and keep going back and keep giving people another chance and another chance and another chance until there's no more chances. Somebody said, the straw that broke the camel's back. And isn't that an old one? And that is a good one. So that's my little meandering, and it's all about boundaries. Boundaries and forgiveness. Is love unconditional? If you're an ascended being, if you're an angel, well, maybe it is. But if you're still waiting for perfect, maybe you're just going to try to be nice, because I can tell you that God told me that perfect is on back order, so it might take a little bit of time. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for listening.